This is the GTN show, and we're back from Mallorca after a fun and action-packed week, so keep an eye out for all that great content soon.
Well, it was great to be filming alongside the world's largest Ironman 70.3 event and to see some of you guys racing, and some of you for the first time as well, so well done to anyone who did race in
Absolutely.
Mallorca.
Well, for the show this week, we're going to be discussing the pros and cons of being a morning person or an evening person with triathlon. We're also going to be looking at some new triathlon products, and we're going to be discussing a vanishing swimming pool.
Oh, well, on top of that, we've got lots of results. We have another giveaway, this time from Park Tool. Plus, we're going to be announcing the winners of the Polar giveaway.
Right, to kick things off this week, I thought we could chat about an interesting investigation that I've been reading up on. It basically looks at the relationship between our circadian preference and sport. In other words, whether you're a morning person or a night owl. And what it's found is that we actually tend to choose sports that suit our circadian preference.
Okay, so does that mean that swimmers tend to like waking up in the morning?
Well, that's kind of what it suggests. And obviously, triathlon, we're trying to juggle 3 sports. So probably going to have to do some early mornings, which kind of got me thinking, does that actually mean that all triathletes out there are morning people?
Oh.
I mean, I've been on enough trips with you, Heather, I'm sure you won't mind me saying. I'm not sure you fit into that morning category.
Well, do you know, I don't think it's just me purely, Mark. If you look at the comments from the show last week, when we did split it and we had to start filming early the next morning, a few people did comment on our blurry-eyed. I think it was actually Ollie Cook who says, Defo could not tell that you just woke up for the second bit, lol, implying that you could.
Well, there's some pros and cons to both, I guess. So when you train in the morning, what they have found is that some people tend to do it before breakfast, which promotes the use of fats, and we have a higher fat metabolism. And over a long, extended period of time, that does tend to show a loss in weight and that better fat metabolism.
Yeah, so that's a whole nother debate, isn't it? That one I find fascinating. But then they also say, you know, on the flip side, that training in the evening you can maybe reach a higher intensity than you could in the morning. And I know I'm definitely like that. Like in the morning, I can't even open a jar of honey. Like I have no grip in my hands. But I can go and swim. I can't talk and I can't like do anything like gym I would really struggle with. So I get that bit about being able to do something stronger and harder in the evening than the morning, but
yeah, I guess there are other people. I guess if you are a morning person, you might get to the end of the day and all you want to do is sleep. But they did also find that, using swimmers as an example, they found that a lot of swimmers, to do that morning training, they were actually sacrificing sleep. So I guess what they were trying to say is, if you are going to try and do your morning training, don't do it at the sacrifice of sleep.
Yeah, I think that's an obvious one, really, isn't it?
Well, I was actually really interested to see where I sat on this scale, because I've done a lot of mornings for swimming and triathlon, so it kind of suggests I'd be a morning person, but then I do like my lions as well. So I found this test online. It's called the Horne-Ostberg questionnaire. So I've got myself and Heather both to do it, and I got a score of 72, which puts me pretty solidly as a morning person.
Well, unsurprisingly, I was a lot lower than you. I was 51, but that put me bang smack in the middle. And I think it's because like some of the questions are saying, when do you prefer to train? Now, I prefer to train in the morning because I like to have it done and I feel better, but I don't naturally like wake up and go, oh, I want to go training. It's more how I like want my day to fall. And, you know, I was a swimmer and I swam 6 mornings a week from the age of 13 to the age of 18. I never missed a training session. I would get on poolside 1 minute before 5:30 or before 6, whatever time the session was.
Even if you didn't know you were already there.
Yeah, and like I couldn't have a conversation with the coach. I could grunt at him if he asked me a question, but I could be there and I could swim. So, you know, in theory, that means that I should be a morning person because I managed to swim, but I've never ever found it easy. And then the one day of the week I'd have off, I would never naturally wake up. I would still have an alarm for 8 o'clock. So yeah, much practice.
Really interesting. I think this will nicely lead on to a poll, because we'd like to know if you think you're a morning person or a night owl, and you can answer based on what you think, or you can actually do this questionnaire that myself and Heather have done. So the link for that will be in the description below this video, and the answers are either morning or evening person, or somewhere in the middle, and you can enter that by clicking just up here. But now for the results of last week's poll.
Yeah, so last week we were discussing the fact of Ironman records and whether there should be one or not. And I mean, the poll was should there or shouldn't there, and we've got the results from that. And it was pretty close.
Yep, it was no with 46%, and yes with 53%, so little in it. And actually going through the comments, it almost seemed like there were more people in favour of the no.
Yeah.
A lot of people actually saying there should be Ironman course records, but not an overall Ironman record. And obviously a few people pointing out the obvious fact that Jan Frodeno is the Iron distance record. We know that, obviously. We're talking about the Ironman branded record here. And yeah, I think a lot of people were sort of backing things that we'd said about the courses being different, the weather being different from year to year. It's so hard to compare.
Yeah,
them.
I mean, someone even pointed out that, you know, we have a marathon world record, but only certain courses that record counts for. So maybe there should be some that they think are, you know, close enough and accurate enough. And there's also saying how Ironman should ratify the course and make sure they're the exact distance. I guess it costs money, and, you know, is there the desire for it? I don't know.
Well, be really interesting going forward. Now for an exciting part of the show, the Park Tool giveaway, and it's the ATD 1.2, which is an adjustable torque driver.
Right, it's got the 3, 4 and 5 mil pieces and the star one as well.
Yeah, that is a Torx key.
Handy.
Yeah, so you may have noticed when you're going to tighten any bolts on your bike, you'll see those little numbers saying 6 Newton meters, 5 Newton meters, and that's for safety to make sure you don't over tighten bolts. And this is where this tool comes in handy. It's very important, and actually a lot of people don't have. It took me a while to get hold of one of these.
Yeah, I need one.
Yeah, so the tools actually come in this end. You can pull that part out nice and easily, swap over the drivers in the end, and then just the Newton meters on this little dial here. So really nice and easy, and it's just portable. You can take it with you wherever you like.
Perfect. Well, we do have 10 of these to give away, and all you have to do is click on the link in the description below, fill in some details, and it's your chance to win one.
Yeah. And now moving on to the polar winners for our giveaway. And Heather, you listed these out.
We did. Well, we had this a couple of weeks ago, and 2 lucky winners get the M460, the H10 heart rate monitor, cadence sensor, bike mat, and the OH1 heart rate sensor. And those winners are Bruno Skriniaric and Kevin Owens.
Awesome. Well, we've got a similar giveaway, but it's for the V650 with the H10, the cadence sensor, the bike mount, and the OH1. And the winners of that were Martin Desmet and Jamie Rowers.
Ooh, well done, guys. We'll be in touch via email with you.
Now for Hot or Not, and to start this week, we're going to go in with the HJC Prototype Aero time trial helmet. Now, if you haven't heard of HJC, that is because they're relatively new in the cycling world. They've actually previously come from a motorcycle background in making helmets, so they know a thing or two about making helmets and aerodynamics. So in 2018, they're now sponsoring a Lotto NL Jumbo.
Well, it was that team that was seen using their HJC Furion Aero helmet in the Giro, and then there was actually a prototype that was spotted in the time trial, which I don't think yet has a name.
No, there's been some speculation around it being the Furion TT or the Prime 3 TT or Prim 3 TT. They don't even know, we don't know. So really exciting to see where this goes with HJC. I'm going to give it a hot.
Well, next up, you're probably guessing which way we're heading with this, because the title, Holly Lawrence being injured. It was a while ago, it was at 70.3 Ironman Oceanside, and she completed the race with this pain in her foot, and after having to drop out of 70.3 Worlds last year, I think she felt the pressure that she had to finish the race, and it turned out afterwards that she'd actually broken a bone and raced through that.
Yeah, I think she reported at the time a cracking noise during the race, but as you said, she felt the pressures to carry on through it, which is quite impressive, really.
Yeah.
But we weren't really sure as to what extent that damage was, and I mean, we've just seen on Instagram she posted a picture of her still in a cast and trying to recover. So I think it's quite clear where we're going with this.
Yeah, sadly, it's a not.
Cool. And then next one, we've got the Ride Your Dream launch. So Ride Your Dream is a new brand onto the scene. They do tri-suits for the likes of Holly Lawrence, James Kunnemar and Rudy von Berg, who we saw win the Wildflower race last weekend. Now, they look like a really exciting, quite a fun and vibrant company. We've seen a lot of them on social media through the athletes and through their own social media accounts. But they finally launched. They're available for us to buy. It's another brand on the scene.
Yeah, some nice colours as well. I've spotted, I think Tyler Butterfield been using one of their tops.
Yeah, maybe so. So I'm going to give it a hot. Now for the Road Grand Tours. Now, we all know of Zwift, did you know of road grand tours for virtual cycling indoors?
Well, I didn't.
No, it's new to me too, but apparently it is a couple of years old. It's essentially the same sort of thing. You can ride indoors on sort of a virtual environment, and actually, from what I've seen, the graphics look amazing. Maybe competing with Zwift here. But the news actually this week is that they've created some new features for the product. They've also created some new courses. It is actually currently only in beta version, but that is actually making it a free product. So you don't have to pay for it. I think this is really exciting, so I'm going to give it a hot.
Another one. Cool. Well, next up, we've got a new recovery drink. Now, Mark, I gather you used to be, or you know the designer of this.
Yeah, so this is from Secret Training. It's Stealth Secret Training. So if you're not aware of this nutrition brand, it's actually Tim Lawson, who was the previous founder of Science in Sport.
Okay.
So a very credible brand and founder, and he went on from Science in Sport to set up Stealth Secret Training. And actually, I believe a lot of pro cyclists go and buy his products just because they think they're so good. He's put a lot of attention to detail into the products and what goes into them. But he's launched this new vegan recovery drink.
Is this his only vegan product then? Is that the...
I believe so. This is the first of their vegan product line. I'm sure there are other vegan recovery drinks out there, but I think going by all the other feedback that they've had from their other products is quite exciting.
Yeah, so go on then.
I give it a hot.
Nice. Well, this one, not so. I'm thinking Texas. We've talked about a lot already. The Ironman that had crazily fast times, and we did touch on the fact that, you know, it was debated a bit and was some drafting going on, while some photos have emerged, and sadly it doesn't look too good.
No, I hate to spend more time on this and sort of a negative side to Ironman Texas, because there was actually some really impressive performances from athletes that didn't draft and put in some fabulous performances that day. But particularly, unfortunately, it seems to be in the pro women's race, and we're looking at sort of, well, actually some of the winners, not some of the cyclists like Kim Morrison that were off the front, but it does seem like as they caught, or the male age group athletes caught the females, there were packs formed, there was a lot of drafting and practically on each other's wheels, which I'm really shocked at, if I'm going to be honest.
So sad, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think it's quite obvious where we're going with this. It's a not.
Yeah.
Now for the race news, and to start we've got Ironman 70.3 Pays d'Aix in France, where they had some terrible weather conditions. It was pouring rain all day, but that didn't stop Andy Bochra. He came 5th out of the swim and then took charge 2/3 into the bike and opened up quite a sizable gap. He posted a sub 2 hour 10 bike split to come off the bike with over 6 minutes on the rest of the field. And then he finished that off with a sub 1 hour 15 half marathon to take the win. And in second, it was Denis Chevreau, and in third, it was Kevin Morel. And I'm going to read out fourth here because it was our GTN friend, Mark Buckingham.
And if you're not on the front row of the grid, you're likely to have someone's feet ready to kick you in the face.
On the women's side, it was maybe a slight surprise result for Manon Genet. She finished 5th in the race last year and had a dramatic improvement on her home country. She managed to get the fastest bike split and the fastest run split, which gave her the overall win, ahead of Lisa Hautala, who was 2nd for Austria, and then in 3rd, it was Great Britain's Fenella Landridge.
We're now moving over to Ironman 70.3 in Monterey, and it was Tim O'Donnell that led the swim out with about a minute gap over some of the chasers like Anthony Costas, Andrew Starkovitz, Matt Strabon and Kevin Collington. And in classic Starkovitz fashion, he took the lead around 45k into the bike to lead off about 4 minutes over the chasers Tim O'Donnell and Costas. And it was Costas that posted a very fast run split of the day to take the win. Anthony Starkovitz took 2nd, and in 3rd, it was Kevin Collington.
Well, on the women's side, it was Ginny Seymour who led out the swim. She had about a 20-second advantage on a small pack that included the likes of Kaiser Sali and Miranda Carfrey. But then onto the bike, it was Carfrey and Sali who worked together and came in to T2 pretty much neck and neck. And it looked like it was going to be a running race between those two. And it was Carfrey who had the lead but it kept kind of getting closer and shorter between her and Kaiser Sali, and then Sali made the move at around the half marathon mark and went on to take the win. It was Miranda Carfrey who finished 2nd overall, and Ginny Seymour came home in 3rd. Moving on to Ironman 70.3 Vietnam, and it was a dominating performance by Radka Kalpart. Only her 2nd race back since giving birth and her 2nd win. She had the fastest swim, bike and run splits to win by almost 11 minutes over Dimitri Lee Duke. And then in 3rd place, it was another newly returning athlete after giving birth. It was Caroline Stefan who took the third.
Well, over in the men's race, it was the Aussie duo that duked out at the front all day. It was Tim Reed and Tim van Berkel, who are actually good friends and good training partners. So onto the run, it was actually Tim Reed that pushed ahead to take the win over Tim van Berkel. So I'm sure that's going to go down well between the two. And then in third, it was Kiwi Mike Phillips.
Well, now it's time for some World Triathlon Series results, and this week it was in Yokohama. And on the women's side, it's probably not a surprise. Flora Duffy was racing. Flora Duffy won. She had a very consistent performance. She led out of the swim, did actually have a pack on the bike and didn't make a breakaway this week. So it came down to the run, but she had a very strong performance and managed to pull away from Katie Zaveris, who finished in second, about 30 seconds behind her. And then it was the first podium since 2016 for Great Britain's non-Stanford to finish third.
Well, over in the men's race, and no surprises, it was Richard Varga that led the swim out, making it his 24th time that he's led a swim out in a WTS race. It's quite a few. But he didn't manage a breakaway. He was actually joined on the bike by a 40-plus strong bike group, including Mario Mola, which is a cracking swim for Mario Mola. He doesn't normally make the front group, so exciting times when I head on to the run. So he hit the run fast, as he usually does. Jacob Birtwistle was hot on his heels, but Mario Mola managed to push ahead, take the win. Jacob Birtwistle in second, and in third it was Fernando Alaza. Now for the World Para Triathlon Series, also in Yokohama, in the men's Para Triathlon wheelchair race, it was Jets Platt that took the win, and in the women's it was Wakako Shishida.
Well, for the PTS2, which is severe impairments on the men's side, it was Mark Barr of the USA who took the win. And then on the women's, it was Alsaya Seeley from the United States as well.
Well, in the PTS3, which is for the significant impairments, it was Justin Godfrey that took the win in the men's, and it was Elise Mark in the women's.
Well, now moving up to PTS4, moderate impairments. The men's winner was Alex Hanquin-Quant of France, and on the women's side it was Mami Tani of Japan.
Well, over onto the PTS5, which is for the mild impairments in the men's race, it was George Peasgood that took the win, who also took silver in the UCI Para Cycling race recently too.
Yeah, well, on the women's side, there was I think a significant result for Lauren Steadman of Great Britain. She took the win, beating Grace Norman, but Grace Norman won the Paralympic gold in Rio, and Lauren hasn't managed to beat her until now, and she won by almost 2 minutes, so significant result there.
Now for Ironman Santa Rosa, and actually this was only an age group race, there wasn't a pro field, but there was quite a significant and impressive result, and that came from Rachel Norfleet, who was actually recently accepted onto the Zwift Tri Academy.
Yeah, well, obviously the coaching has been paying off because she won her age group, the 18 to 24 age group, by over 90 minutes and guaranteed her slot for Kona, obviously, quite easily. And she's the first of the 4 members to qualify for Kona, so the rest have got a good example to follow.
Now for the caption competition, and last week we had a photo from the World Cup in Chengdu with the male podium finishers taking a selfie on the podium.
Well, we had quite a lot of good suggestions. We struggled to narrow it down, so we actually have 2 runners-up this week.
Yep, so one runner-up came from Kevin Ford. He said, it all came down to a photo finish. I like that one. And then from Try Dad Matt, he said, when the cost of race photos is that high, you need to take your own photo on the podium. I like that
nice. One. Well, it's made Mark chuckle, but the winner is from Krzysztof Kajatenovic, and his is, Mum won't believe it's not a finisher medal.
Brilliant. All right, well, Krzysztof, you win the GTN cap, so get in touch over Facebook and we'll send this over to you. Now for this week's caption competition, and it is from David McNamee on the podium of Ironman 70.3 Marbella.
I mean, this one.
I'm not sure we should say too much here, Heather.
No,
we'll just throw it straight to you guys.
I think that's wise.
Yeah, so please drop your captions in the comment section below. Now for the GTN Tribe, and this week we're heading over to the Philippines for Tri Bibo.
Yeah, well, this was sent in from Joel Condahan, and apparently they were originally called Run Bibo. So they were a running club, and they've now ventured into World Triathlon. They've got 27 members, so they're still pretty small, and they're learning as they go. So they've been experimenting with different gadgets and shoes, and basically helping each other out as they go along.
Yeah, and interestingly, a majority of the members are married couples as well, which is really cool. So they've got families, and in a couple of their photos, you can see some of the kids actually standing there with them. So really cool.
Tri-suits as well. That's quite keen at that age, isn't it?
And the tri-suits actually for the team are wicked. They stand out at least.
Striking.
Very, very cool. Yeah. And they've also said that because they all try out these different bits of kit, they often end up all wearing the same kit, the same shoes, the same visors, the same watches. So
makes it easy for your shopping list, I guess.
Yeah, real team there. So that's awesome. Please do keep sending in your GTN tribes, what your club's up to, any photos, any videos, any events, so we can start filling out this GTN map.
Right, it's time for GTN Pain Cave, and starting us off, we have Pierre McShane, 99% and loading. Pain Cave almost completed. I want to know what's missing, what that 1% is that's going to be in this Pain Cave.
It looks pretty good to me anyway. I mean, we've got I think that's a Claude Butler bike on the turbo, and it's an on-wheel turbo trainer. Then they've got a giant propel hanging on the wall that looks like their race bike. They're keeping it nice and clean and ready for race day.
Yes.
They've got a Zone 3 wetsuit hanging up, and they've got a lot of race numbers.
That is impressive.
It looks like they're from Ireland, going by all those race numbers. So really cool. And moving on, we've got one here from Reese Barclay, and you might recognise that name because it is the partner of Lucy Charles.
Yeah, and he's recently turned pro, and it looks like he is honing in his training or his nutrition, at least with Red Bull. I think he might be stealing a few of those from his fiancée, because we know that she's sponsored by Red Bull, and there are, 5 cans and then some green ones if they're Red Bull as well. I'm not sure, but that's a lot of caffeine consumption for one session.
I think that's some sweets tucked between the saddle.
Some gels sticking out of the top tube bag.
How long were you on the bike for, Reese? I'm
not sure what he's watching either.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
It's definitely not GTN.
And some pliers and some antibacterial. Hopefully he's not drinking that either, but a lot going on there. That's a long ride, whatever that was. Moving on, we've got Stuart Henderson, and this is a really cool setup. We've got a treadmill, then he's got his giant Trinity TT bike set up on his turbo next to that.
Yeah, he's also got his balance ball for a bit of core work and a bench for some free weights and stretching and things. So.
Yeah, really cool. And then moving on, we've got one here from Philip Hodson. And again, really nice, clean setup here.
This is slick.
Yeah, so he's got a Wahoo Kicker, I think, set up there. We can't quite see it. It might actually be an Elite turbo trainer. Got a Cervelo P5 on that turbo trainer. And then I think that's a Cervelo S5 on the wall there.
Nice. A lot of drinks bottles ready for his hydration, and various shoes laid out for different training sessions, I guess.
Yeah, very neat. He's got all his race wheels set up beside him. He's got his treadmill. He's got a Metallica poster on the wall.
And nicely mounted posters, actually, aren't they?
This is a proper man cave. This is cool. I like it.
So you sound a bit jealous of this one.
Well, please keep sending in your pain caves using the hashtag GTN Pain Cave over Twitter, or send them in over Facebook.
Well, that's it for this week's show. Do carry on sending in any comments you have. If you've got any photos of your pain cave, or you're in part of a club and you want to share it with us, do send that in as well. And if you want to catch all of our videos, then you can just hit the globe to subscribe. And if you've noticed these lovely t-shirts, we're matching today. You want to get your hands on one of them?
Awkward. I chose blue first, actually.
I think I came in wearing mine, but anyway, we'll carry on that discussion afterwards. If you like the look of this t-shirt on either myself or Mark, you can get hold of those by just clicking the link for the shop.
If you'd like to see Marco Albert's pro bike, just click down here.
And if you aren't sure whether you want to wear socks or no socks in your next race, we did a little bit of an investigation on that just here.